Alright, so if you're watching this, you're probably not, if you're on the stream, you're probably just tuning in a little after this, but if you tuned in right now, we're going to be at a 15-minute delay, so I won't be responding to chat or anything. If you're on YouTube, none of that matters. I'm a spectator, so obviously I can't choose an archdemon. We'll just see here whenever it's ready to go. So in this game, there will unfortunately be one bot, but that's just how it shook out. There was too many no-shows, so basically every lobby right now has one bot in them. I don't think it'll hopefully matter too much. I think these are still going to be quite competitive lobbies. It started me with the bot, so let's go ahead and just check out everybody really quick. We got TwinkBoy, pmHoward, Agamemnon, Voidkin, BloodRune on the Brotusk, and of Beasts and Bussys, otherwise known as Trale, with a, arguably, yeah, a Beast champ Gordo, and MOTFgames on Crowley. So very interesting setup. You got definitely some tempo champs here with Groundsin, arguably Baron, definitely Ratch and Jacko and Brotusk, and then probably Crowley. Whereas Gordo's going to be an opposite game plan, right? They're going to potentially get punished early. However, if they can survive till late, they definitely have an advantage over all of these. So looks like we have a water elemental. Looks like Trale, Beast and Bussys is going to go with double water elemental. Makes sense. And got the water elemental shade coming out of MOTFgames. Both of them unfortunately getting stuck with the haste spell. BloodRune with an early sprout and a very good early treasure. That's going to be very interesting. Looks like he's opting to use his bananas to buy units. I like it. Makes a lot of sense. These are very strong units. BloodRune, a very strong start here. Voidkin also with a free mana, setting up a really good beast for a future Jacko hero power come level 2. That'll be very interesting. And just in general, having a fire elemental with a rat in front of it is a very strong play. So, speaking of fire elemental, looks like TwinkBoy also has a very strong board here. Very hard to beat a Groundsin early. Very hard to beat a Groundsin at any point really in the early game. So, looks like we got a Sprout, a Bloodsucker, a Water Elemental. I'd have to guess he probably just takes the Sprout and Bloodsucker, but perhaps he'll take the Water Elemental. He might value that extra health more. Ooh, we got a treasure coming in here for TwinkBoy. Now I'm curious, I want to see. Ah, interesting. He goes with the Vampling. I suppose this definitely makes sense. The idea here is have more units on board, get more health spread across. This definitely could make sense. I just don't know if locking the first fight will end up being worth it, but we'll see. Looks like pmHoward does have an early owlbear traps. That's a very good early tempo treasure to have with Baron. It's definitely one of the strengths with Baron, and why I kind of consider it a tempo champ is, getting a Sprout and having, basically being ahead of the curve here with owlbear traps is a tempo play, right? And actually it's enough to tie an early large board Groundsin, so you know that it's putting in work, right? So now we get to level 2, we start to open up the shop. Looks like he has the Underguardsman Lava Toad combo if he so desires. He actually opts to not take either. Goes with the double water elemental. Very interesting. These are very tempo oriented plays. I can't disagree. Looks like we got the beasts coming out early here for Trale. We gotta stay true to form. He is the beast master. So he has the early Hammer of Destiny. It's definitely a good one to have, but the board is a little bit small. Let's hope that they don't end up falling behind. Let's see how this fight plays out between Trale and pmHoward here. We saw that, pmHoward had a very strong early board, but there's a lot of health on these Anemonauts, which also have a lot of damage, but those owlbear traps are going to be tough. At least there. Ooh, that's not the direction you probably wanted to go in. So some early damage on Gordo. This is always the scare with Gordo. We do have a Mana Guardian though. That could definitely bring Trale back into this if you can somehow get an early combination on that. Let's take a look at MOTFgames. MOTFgames getting a Ritual Fattening. It probably could be worth it, even though it's only one unit. I have to imagine these two, all three of these units we see a lot of, I think. Dullish, Cavalry, and Mana Guardian. They're very strong 3-drops that at least the Cavalry and Mana Guardian provide a lot of early tempo. Dullish needs a little bit of help, right? It needs to get those ends, but usually they're doable. So we'll see here. Looks like they'll be going against Trale. Let's take a look at BloodRune. They had that really strong start. They have a Wraith Insurance, which is... let's see, they're against the Ground Sin. They might very well lose this fight on the Ground Sin. I hope they end up locking that, because that is a strong... Yeah, that's a strong story right there. I'll probably watch them after this fight. I'm always interested to see how the promotion goes. So this is definitely going to be kind of good for BloodRune. He kind of wants to lose here when you have that Wraith Insurance, right? So, TwinkBoy, very strong board. But we'll see here. I have to imagine... The only interesting thing here is you're going to upgrade, promote the Grek since it's a higher level, or will he promote... Oh, he didn't promote? I don't know. The spectator mode might be... I don't want to mess anything up. I don't know if I move away from this... He does have the promotion still there. I think it just did something weird with the shop. There we go. Okay, went with the Sprout to get a solid Shadow. Probably not the unit that he really wanted to see, but at least it has some synergy with that Fire Elemental, right? Let's take a look at the Ratch. We haven't seen the Ratch player. Oh, wow. Okay, we got a lot of rats here. Obviously what you want to see on a Ratch. That's going to be tough to deal with, even for the Ground Sin. So let's see how this fares against the Ground Sin. The only downside, no treasures yet. No treasures yet. So they probably may have spent a bit of mana just rolling for rats, which is acceptable, right? Looks like that overkill pretty brutal, though. It was bound to be pretty brutal. Underguardsman is a very good unit into rats early, at any point, really. So looks like the Groundson definitely taking the early lead here, although pmHoward also has not taken any damage. Let's take a quick look back at pmHoward. Okay, very interesting. So, the owlbear traps, still the only treasure. However, they must have promoted into that Grek, because that owlbear traps would have been a 2-cost treasure. So a good unit to promote into. They have a Mana Guardian. Looks like they're starting to form an elemental board here. So that could end up being potentially pretty strong. Let's take a look at Crowley. Has a Fire Slinger with some damage behind it. Trying to get some of that health back with the Health Vial. Speed Potion going to be good for that ranged unit. Definitely some potential power forming here. Also has the Boost, giving some stats to these screeners. So we got the classic kind of soup build going on. No clear direction yet, but I'm sure MOTFgames will be looking for some direction through level 3 here. Maybe the game makes him go greeners, maybe it makes him go demons, maybe it makes him go something else entirely. We don't know for sure. That's a pretty good not overkill, but extra damage hit there. Looks like so MOTFgames, who is currently lowest health in the lobby, actually going to beat the tied for top of the lobby here. So here we see a comeback start to form here with MOTFgames. That'll be exciting. Voidkin, what's going on with Voidkin? Voidkin has a Dullish. It's upgraded, but it hasn't really had much ends yet. Has a promotion. I hope that he ends up using it on he could use it on any number of things here. It's always tempting to have that Dullish turn into a Great Bite, but A lot of times in this position when I'm behind on the ends and it's going to be 2, maybe even more turns, I end up just promoting it since it is the highest. But it looks like he opts to go with the Agamemnon, which is still great too, right? It's upgraded, it had extra damage. It turns into a high damage ranged unit. That's going to potentially get him back into this. And I like the switch there of Dolish to the second slot. Try to get that mounted benefit on both of these Unholy Knights. The Stick Rat, oh, he's got the Blood Mage. That Blood Mage is a great unit behind everything too. So let's take a look at how Voidkin does here against the rats. Ooh, so he's definitely shifting around the board a bit here. That's an unfortunate hit. I do wonder if perhaps the Stick Rat would be better in slot 3 there, just so it gets the double benefit of the Blood Mage. I will say though, this board is pretty strong. It's potential that no real formation was going to beat this. So another hit here for Voidkin. This is where you really start to panic with these tournaments. You're starting to get really low in health. You don't want to get an 8th, but you know, just try to rally back, pick up some tempo, stabilize, and you never know what you might be capable of. Although it is honestly pretty unfortunate that he now has to go into the Groundson here. And that Groundson has some big underguardsmans. The Beast Skull giving them 2 extra attack. Though I'm not sure how they have... Oh, they must have had these Unholy Knights for a bit then. I was like, these are really big. And underguardsman's here. Clanlord. So he's really going with the TwinkBoy here, going with a full warrior comp, which is pretty nice. This is something you don't see a whole lot on ladder. You see it every now and then, but I think in a tournament setting, this type of setup is really strong. It's going to really punish the lobby, and anybody who's kind of struggling, like right now with Voidkin, it's going to put on a lot of hurt. You know, it just gets those early stats. Everything is just kind of generally powerful. I gotta say though, that was a really good shot from Voidkin. So he ended up pivoting his auxiliary rat to slot 1, and that paid some dividends here, and it's gonna win him the fight. So like we said, you know, he was in a rough spot, but he picked up a bunch of tempo here, and as a result, he just took out the top in the lobby. So twice now we've seen the bottom in the lobby take out the top in the lobby. That's what you like to see, right? You're never down and out. And so let's see pmHoward. He's gone from full health down to 22 in the last 2 or 3 rounds, which is disheartening. But again, you're never down and fully out. This is what I wonder about elementals, by the way. You know, it seems like ever since he went with the elemental plan, things have not gone so well. I have always found going elementals through level 3 to be very not friendly tempo, or not friendly to the tempo game plan, right? However, now that he's level 4, that can change, right? This Earth Elemental starts to get bigger. His Mana Guardians are growing. He does have a Shambler, which is a pretty good tempo unit through level 4. Probably falls off a little bit, but at 24 attack, I don't think it will fall off till late game. So we got the Baron versus the Groundson here. Let's check in with the Brotusk after this. We haven't seen from them in a little bit. So luckily that does eat up the overkill. What he definitely didn't want to happen was to like get slot 1 hit by the Underguardsman and then have the Shambler die or something like that. Unfortunately, these captains are going to be a bit too much to deal with. However, he does stave off a little bit of the damage here by resummoning. But unfortunately, it's just not enough to fully take out that captain. Although he will get another end here, which might be enough to almost tie, depending on where these hits go. Yeah, he actually ties it. Not too shabby. I did not think that would tie, but it did. A lot of promotions in this in these games so far. Very interesting. It looks like it's the Weirbeast. That's a unit you love to promote into, I would say. You know, the weakness of this unit is it starts with bad stats, but if it starts as a 22-22, pretty good. Another promotion. Very interesting. Let's take a look at the Brotusk. So Brotusk going with a more vanilla Weirbeast game plan, but with an arcane offering to let it feed a upgraded and a non-upgraded Blood Mage into it. That's another way to make up for the bad base stats. So interesting, we already see 2 Weirbeasts here. Let's see, how's the Rat player doing? The Rat player does have the summoning treasures, doesn't have that Magicus upgraded yet though. Probably would love to see the Potent Brew soon if possible. There does become a certain threshold where it's kind of like too late to really try to force it, and it might be getting to about that point. Ooh, the banana coming out from BloodRune. Probably smart to do it against a Ratch. Also, that'll help the Weirbeast get a Slay. There we go. I believe, don't quote me on this because I didn't see the exact math, but I believe that the banana allowed it to survive that hit there. We'll just pretend that it did. He might still lose this fight, it looks like. That just shows how powerful... Okay, he still loses. It's not a huge loss, but it's always wild when the banana comes down and you still lose, right? That shows that actually the Ratch player here in quite a strong position even without the Potent Brew. You know, the Ghoul Juice, Ratch Power, and Ghoul Hand combo means that these resummons come in about as powerful, if not more powerful, than the base units here. So you can't underestimate how powerful that combo is. And looks like he'll have the fight into the bot here, but we see the rapid re-rolling at this stage from most players, especially the Rat player, because this is this point in the game where you're really trying to find specific pieces and you're not just picking up whatever comes your way necessarily. Looks like MOTFgames has gone into more or less of a full demon build here. Has some magical, you know, Scholar's Pledge synergy going on as well between the Mana Guardian, the Blood Mage, and all of these Fire Slingers. Very, very interesting. By the way, I don't think Trale has lost a fight since we saw him kind of struggling earlier. So he definitely turned the corner, it looks like, here with some Mana Guardians, and he now has a Aegis Golem. Getting that ahead of curve is great. Not to mention, it's a large unit. He could potentially get, you know, if he wants, he's coming into level 5 here. He could just cast Hellfire Pact, YOLO it, and eventually he'll probably get an Aegis Golem, and that would combine. He only needs 1 as a Gordo to combine, and he would have a 7-cost treasure quite early in this game. I gotta say, both these boards are really strong, though. It looks like... Yeah, I guess it depends. If this Fire Slinger can stay relatively... Okay, it died there. I was gonna say maybe the Fire Slinger could take this, but it does look like Trale really coming in hot here. Like, yeah, I mean, there's just so many stats here. And not only that, ooh, Eldritch Pact or Center of Power, both of those could be very good depending on the direction he wants to go here. You know, does he want to go into a full elemental thing here? He's been putting in slot 6 that Earth Elemental, it looks like, just to get it extra stats. Now the Eldritch Patch has the nice upside, though, of again being another large 7-cost. Looks like he does opt to go for that. I can't say I disagree. I think the Center of Power, while it has some upside, has a little bit of weirdness with this current board. Might as well just take the A-Bomb. Now, I wonder if he fields it. Like, I have to imagine maybe it could be better than, like, the Water Elemental or Solid Shadow. Yeah, I think he'll probably... Oh, he goes with the Mind Sapper. Interesting. Oh. Uh-oh, is he playing down a unit? Oh, he got it in. Okay, nice. Unfortunately, it was going to die no matter what, since there was a Grek. Didn't really matter where he put it. Looks like Mana Beacon coming out here from Brotusk. We see Lava Golem come out. We'll have to check his board after this, see what else he got. I do love the Mana Beacon on level 5, though. Or even, you know, even better level 6, but usually level 5 is the realistic play you can make with it. Wow, BloodRune really strong here. I think maybe I'm cursed. Whenever Trale wins every fight that I'm not watching, and then I watch, and then yeah, I think I'm cursed. So oh wow, he got Well, he probably got the Bustation, but he did pick up another Lava Golem, it looks like. So he's very close, BloodRune here, to getting a 6-cost treasure. Now, I believe BloodRune was the player that picked a Weirbeast versus promoted into it. I can't recall exactly, but either way, this Weirbeast looks to have gotten decently large. And you know, we see a suit build here. So the top in the lobby right now has no real clear theme. You know, there are some greeners. There's, you know, Weirbeast. There's now these Lava Golems. He has the Lava Golem in shop, so he'll have a level 6 treasure incoming here. And with this board, there's so many good hits for him. He could get a Bloodbath. He could get a War Engines. He could get even a Darkness Incarnate would be decent. It would go on the Grek right now, which maybe isn't that great, but a helm would be great. Get double HP to the front. He could even shift the Bustation up front in that case. You know, sometimes you don't like to run a tank up front because there's a lot of overkill in this game, but if you got a helm, I think that changes things a little bit. So this captain is unfortunately right at the 30 attack to health breakpoint there. And in true fashion, whoever I spectate just ends up losing the fight. So, okay, looks like, now my apologies, I did miss the Voidkin. Jacko did end up getting taken out here, but I'll try to catch the fights here that are on low HP. So, both pmHoward and MOTFgames are in a little bit of danger here. On the bright side, they look to have very powerful boards. pmHoward has an upgraded Bustation, has a Abomination, you know, the Serpentina, if the Shambler can somehow slay, which is not super likely from the slot 3, but maybe the Bustation changes that, though they might not know. Yeah, with a Rat, there's not going to be any, like, splash damage. And then what about MOTFgames? They have these good Fire Slingers. I do wonder, though, if he might benefit from that slot 1 Fire Slinger going back to the slot 5. Just to try to make sure, you know, you're on 1 health, one death, and you're gone. I do wonder if maybe you just give up a little bit of that scaling at this point on the Red Beast and try to move your ranged unit into slot 5. Alright, here we go. This is a moment of truth for MOTFgames. It's going good so far, but that cat, he does get the helm. So BloodRune gets the helm. That is going to be brutal with that captain against demons. Although that's a really good hit. That is a really good hit, but there's not much left for him. Oh, man. Well, that was a valiant effort from MOTFgames, but just too many stats end up on board here for BloodRune. Oh, and looks like pmHoward must have cast a sacrifice when we weren't looking, because they've gone up to 14 HP here now. Looks like the Groundson is at 1 HP, so they're also in the danger zone here. They do have an upgraded Strong and Stronger, but no real synergy with it. Looks like they promoted into it, most likely. Okay, we got a 5-cost treasure here. Could go at the center. Looks like he does go at the center, which is pretty good. I mean, that's going to give a lot of health. He might just have to buy... You know, it's hard to say. Sometimes, if the unit isn't good, like the Ox right here isn't necessarily good, you might, with a captain, just be better off not fielding it. You could run a... maybe this Unholy Warrior up in slot 4, then the slot 5 would be available for the ranged unit to pop in. I also wonder if maybe the Kraken Hunter is in slot 5. An interesting thing I'm noticing about a lot of these players, and I'm not saying this is incorrect, right? I'm just saying this is a difference between my own thoughts on ranged units. Like, I generally like to put, unless it's a Hellfire cannon, I generally like to put my strongest ranged unit in slot 5. However, given... Oh, look how giant... Wow, BloodRune is just... Okay, BloodRune is reached like Super Saiyan level 5 here. So he must have promoted into this Hellfire Knight. And yeah, he's going to be tough to beat. Let's take a look at what Ratch has for him. Not much. That helm doesn't, unfortunately, do much for the rat build, right? That would be interesting to see. Might have just had an unfortunate pair of treasures, maybe a bloodbath and a combined elementals and Helm of the Abyss. By default, in that type of situation, you just have to take helm. But Trale here, a lot of big units. Probably not big enough for Brotusk yet, but Gordo can have these crazy late game power spikes, and who knows, I mean, with the helm even right now, he's got this A-bomb growing. Eventually that A-bomb can go front when it whittles down to the one-on-one or so. Ooh, and he has a promotion. Yeah, let's take a look at pmHoward. So we got 3 players with, actually all 4 players right now have the Helm of Abyss. That's pretty neat. pmHoward here does also have the Darkness Incarnate, which is currently on whatever unit goes in front of the Fey Fire Golem, I suppose. Bastation. No, that makes sense. You want it on the Bastation, probably. Although, okay, this will be an interesting fight. This is like the battle of the huge front lines here. Okay, that was... I gotta think that this is... Ooh, that's a great breakpoint, though, for pmHoward. I was gonna say it looks to me like Trale definitely has this one. He does still have this one, it looks like, but pmHoward should survive barely here. Alright, 2 health. Now, how did... Oh, Rat did get taken out here, so we're down to the top 3. And I gotta say, it's gonna be... I think pmHoward is a little bit behind right now, but you never know. He could get back into this. He's also the Baron, which technically isn't late game. Neither is Brotusk. Gordo is, right? So Gordo I would give the advantage to right now, but it's still anyone's game. You know, the Brotusk has this crazy setup right here. He has a Hellfire Cannon in shop. I don't know if he actually has 12 mana or not. Doesn't look like it. So he... Wait. Nope, he did pick it up. Sorry, my screen is getting wonky here. But, so, 2 Hellfire Cannons. He's got all these demons now. Along with the Bastation. Lava Toad, technically a demon. I do wonder if he should put the Lava Toad up front, though, just to make sure that the Hellfire Knight gives it its benefit. He might be worried about an opposing Hellfire Cannon, though. I get that concern as well, right? You don't want to put your Bastation back here and just have your entire power source get killed. He is susceptible, by the way, to a Grek, but I think he probably... Or Overkill. Oh, ow, ouch. I can relate to that all too well. This is going to be a lot of damage. That might be a crazy... This might be... Is that full lethal? Because none of these units are going to die, I don't think. Yeah, none of these... Oh, dirty 18 damage. Trale. Yikes. Well played to everybody so far. This has been a wild endgame here. Trale, you know what? This is pretty intense here. So what does Baron have? Do they have any chance? I mean, they got stats. They don't got that level of stats. I mean, look at that Aegis Golem. Like I said, now, one thing I will say is I don't know... I know he had the vanilla Aegis Golem. I don't know if this was a combination or just a separate promotion. I have to think it was a combination. But it does look like whatever the 7-cost treasure was, it wasn't very good because he didn't take it. You know, that is one downside of Gordo's. You only see 2 choices at the artifact. If it's like Serpent's Charm and Ghoul Hand or something that just doesn't fit his build at all, I guess even like... I suppose a Madness would be good, but is it better than all of these 3? Maybe it's better than Ritual Artifact? I don't know. Either way, point of the matter is he did skip the treasure, whatever it was, but he's got this upgraded Aegis Golem with the helm. That's just so hard to deal with. Though I suppose pmHoward with a 348 damage doesn't worry about it too much. So both of them with the giant Aegis Golems here that aren't really going to do much against either of their builds. I have to imagine they may look to replace those. You know, they would have been pretty good into the other players, and I'm sure they were, but at this point, they're not doing too much for each other. Looks like this will be it, though. Oh, wow, the Vampire Vats extends the game. I stand corrected. I stand corrected. We got a game here still. All right, what would Gordo be looking for at this point? To triple the A-bomb, I suppose? Stacking the Serpentina. Bustation armor. Casts it on the Sapper, it looks like. So just trying to get that Sapper large. Makes sense. Just try to finish this game out. No sense to try to doom roll for the A-bomb when you can just make a play that might give you the extra stats to win here. So what did pmHoward add here? He still has the same treasures. He did add the Hydrex. I don't believe he had that last time, right? If he did, I missed it. I'm pretty sure that this was an ad. And that gives him a little bit of power here. He's got the 2 beasts up front that will be the main benefactors of that. I don't know if it pushes them over any meaningful breakpoints, though. We'll see. And Beast did, you know, smartly cut the Aegis Golem because it wasn't doing him any good. It makes sense. Wow, pmHoward here, kind of making another comeback here. This is pretty surprising. We got quite a close one here then. So it's anyone's game here. A big enough win, just maybe 3 units or more with pmHoward will close this out, and obviously any win that Gordo has here will close this out at the 2 HP. So this is a very, very important clutch set of turns here for both players. Try to go back and forth here. You know, that Wraith Queen probably never going to slay, considering the gigantic units of either player here. Barrier, though. Barrier, a pretty good potential play here. Looks like he cuts the Serpentina for a Squid. Makes sense. Makes sense. You know, the Serpentina is itself only at an 8 count, so you might as well put in a unit that kind of benefits from it. I guess the question is, do you care about the extra 16 attack times 2, basically, that it's giving to the units in front? We shall see. Alright, moment of truth. Place your bets now. Oh, the Knowledge Fiend. And the Overkill. That's a huge hit. That's going to be tough. For, yeah, and that breakpoint there might have sealed it. I think Trale runs away with this one, but gosh, that was a great game. Well played to both. That was awesome. It was everything I hoped and more. But oh, and I won this one actually. I'm the Baron here, and I got first. So no, just kidding. That was well played to everybody there. So we'll take a quick break here. I'll keep the stream running. Feel free to you know, chat away with everything going on, and we'll be back with the next game.